Okay, we can just start off first with a bit of meditation. Yeah? So you can close our eyes and just get into a comfortable position. So the meditation is about just being able to just just get yourself into the moment, um, feel comfortable within the moment. Just being able to sit down quietly with your eyes closed. A place where you can feel safe and just being able to let go of the world around you. To let go of the troubles and worries, to let go of the planning and thinking, to be free of all that, and to just be in this moment. It's like in the world, whatever you see, whatever you look at, that affects your mind. Like if you're watching too much of the news and the news is negative, how does that affect your mind? But meditation is like, how does sitting down with your eyes closed, not looking at anything, not hearing anything, how can that affect your mind? And this is what we do when we meditate, is allow the nothingness that we're looking at right now to make our minds calm and peaceful. So when we're meditating, we're not really doing anything. We're just sitting down, just watching the world go by, not judging it, but just experiencing it for what it is. So as you're meditating, all you really want is a comfortable body, nothing to really irritate it. So if you have a sore leg, just move it. If you have something to scratch, scratch it. And just find a way to be comfortable. And just start observing and start looking. Start knowing what you're seeing in your mind right now. And just allow the mind to just be one with the present moment. Allow the mind to do nothing. Allow the mind to have a break from everything. So yeah, you're starting to get to know the inner world and the benefits that it can give you. Just being able to sit down and just forget about everything, being in the moment, feeling comfortable is, meditation shouldn't be a chore. It shouldn't be difficult. It should be a time where you can just sit down and just relax and just be calm. It's like when you meditate, you get to a point where the mind will start showing you a little bit of peace, showing you how beneficial stillness can be, and all you got to do is just sit down and accept it, watch it, allow it to sort of like just take over your mind. So whenever you have a thought that may arise in the mind, yeah, just look at it as a thought. You know, the nature of thoughts, they come and they go. And meditation is a time where you don't have to take your thinking too seriously. You can think about them later on. So whatever arises within the mind, just don't get too involved in it and allow it to pass naturally. Eventually it'll disappear. A big part of the meditation practice is patience. Not all meditations can be good. Some of them can be difficult, and the only thing you can really do is to be patient. Be patient with whatever arises within the mind, whether it's unpleasant, whether it's unbearable. You get to the point where you can understand that, hey, you can pretty much experience anything in your mind, and you just sit and you watch it and you learn from it. You just learn from it and learn that the one thing you learn is these things don't last forever. They disappear. You just, like, from time to time, bring your mind just like back into this room. It's like, what does this room feel like? Are there any noises? Is anybody talking? Is anybody jumping around like a monkey? No, there's nothing disturbing right now. Just bring your mind back to what you're doing in this moment. And what is it doing? It's just sitting down quietly. So if your body is doing that, then maybe your mind can follow what your body's doing and just be as quiet as the body. So we are going to end the meditation and just take a few moments to just reflect and think about what has happened in the half an hour. See how you feel, what you've learnt, and just look for the benefits of why we meditate. It's like a kid. The kid can see the benefits of eating some candy because it brings them some happiness. That's why they always go back to the candy when you give it to them. And it's sort of like the same with the mind. When you can see some sort of benefit from just sitting down quietly and just allowing the mind to be overcome by the present moment, or the peace, or the stillness, that's the kind of benefit that you may want to go back to, or is the kind of benefit that you want to go back to. So that's how you keep your meditation practice going, is by looking for the benefits that you can see while you're meditating. So we are going to just recompose ourselves and wake up back, and wake up and open your eyes, and I'll start the talk. I'll ring the bell first. That was a bit rough, hitting that bell. It felt like I was holding a hammer and just whacking something.